not working. Okay. I think I'm live now on YouTube and Instagram. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, Sexy Shay. Candy's Braiding. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome if this is your first time. My name is Aisha Chiroe. I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. I help clients all over the United States with their family immigration matter, humanitarian-based cases, VAWA, T visas for trafficking, U visas for serious crimes. We also handle removals, which is led by our lead removal attorney, Attorney Stacy. Some of you guys have seen her on my live here or have spoken with her, who handles detention, cases in court. If you receive a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge, generally can assist you with that. Our phone number is 407-995-6567. Let me put that in there. If you want to schedule a consultation, or you can also send a WhatsApp. If you send a WhatsApp to our WhatsApp number, we can reach back out to you if you are a US number. We don't accept calls on the WhatsApp, but we can respond to messages. So let me just pin that. Okay. Some updates for you guys. Okay, I told you guys that as soon as there are any new updates of anything that I hear, I will definitely give it to you. So one new update is that for those countries, the 39 countries that are facing visa bans outside of the United States, keyword here is outside of the United States. USCIS has quietly slipped in medical doctors into the group that are no longer subject to the ban. So if you're a medical doctor, applying as a medical doctor, and you're outside the United States, you're in any of those 39 countries, you're eligible to apply for a visa to come to the United States based on that. Obviously, they will still vet you like they would vet any normal person, but you're no longer subject to the ban if you're a medical doctor, because there is a scarcity of physicians here in the United States. And so I guess they want to make sure that the healthcare professionals and those who need healthcare are taken care of. The second update that I wanted to provide was that, so we had an interview with the client yesterday at USCIS, and one of the things that the officer said was that, so our client is from one of the 39 countries, and the officer said that they can approve the I-130 now, but that they have to do the fingerprinting before they can approve the 485. I had told you they're not making any green card decisions until they rerun this biometrics, but they told us they can approve the I-130. I haven't checked this morning yet to confirm if they've actually approved it or not. Once I find out, I will let you all know, maybe tomorrow. But so basically, it seems to me, just like we had the I-129F, we also actually had another I-130 that was approved from one of the banned countries, Nigeria. That one was approved last week, but we just got it in the mail yesterday, right? So for those of you that always ask, what is the status on the adjudicative pauses? So it seems that they're beginning to approve them in trickles, because we're seeing them come in trickles. We haven't seen the secondary application be approved yet, since they have this new biometrics that they're running for the 485, which is the one that actually gives you the green card. But things like the I-130, which is like the petition for alien relative, we've seen one approved. The one from yesterday, I don't know if it's been approved yet. I haven't checked. So progress and movement. So hopefully, we'll have a bit more predictable timeline once we start to see more of those coming in. Okay, let's see what y'all have for me today. What questions? Do you know how long is the wait after it says a case is ready to be scheduled, an eval case with everything filed at the same time after RFE, after eval was approved? Sometimes it can be scheduled that week. It can be the next week. Sometimes it can be a month. Sometimes it can be 6 months later. So it's really, really hard to say when you say case is ready to be scheduled. The only way to know for a fact is if they say testing and scheduling. Let me tell you the exact language. Let me tell you the exact language of what you should expect to hear. It would say your case status, testing and interview. We scheduled an interview for your form, whatever. That's what it would look like. So whenever they say case is ready to be scheduled, sometimes it just means like, see, I have this one here where it says, testing an interview. We're ready to schedule your Form I-485 interview. And then, the next day we've scheduled your interview. So again, sometimes it's not predictable. Like they can tell you they've scheduled it or they're ready to schedule it. So there's no real timeline to give per se. It's just one of those things where you just wait until you receive your interview date. Do you fill documents in the process to be a citizen? I don't know if you're asking if you have to complete a document or if you're asking if our firm represents clients who are applying for citizenship. If that is a question, yes, we do assist clients who are applying for naturalization, which is citizenship. Is it possible to go to an interview with 2 toddlers? Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm like a glorified babysitter when I go to interviews with clients, as my clients would tell you, even the ones that I had last week. Sometimes I'm there with like coloring books, so I'm giving my client the iPad or or they're sleeping. So as long as, you have something that, like if you have a fussy child or toddler, as long as you just have something to keep them entertained while you're there, it's fine to go with them. One of the things I say is that if you think that you're someone who's going to be easily frazzled, where it's going to mess up your own momentum in answering the questions, because it can be a little bit nerve-wracking for some people, then maybe if you can find someone to help, that's best. If you know that you can give them a snack. They don't really allow food per se, but depending on the field office, if it's for the child, maybe they'll allow a snack. But generally, if you feel like you can get them a coloring book or something, because technology, I can get away with that because I'm an attorney, but you can't. So that's the only thing, like in terms of giving them like your phone or iPad. Okay. Submitted VAWA May 2025, 485, transferred to Vermont, March 2026. Got receipt in January of this year. I did fingerprints, but no prima facie yet. Should I be worried? No. You probably mentioned this already, but does the pause for the 39 countries affect pending N400 cases in the United States? Yes, it does. But also, if you just tune in, I just mentioned that it seems that you're starting to make certain decisions in trickles, because if certain people from those 39 countries, we started receiving I-130 approvals and I-129F, which is a fiancé petition approvals. That said, I'm assuming that the N400 is going to be the same way as the 485, which is a green card application where they need to do the refingerprint with this new system. Anything submitted after April 27th of this year, they have to redo like a fingerprint according to them before they can make a decision. So, I heard that last week and I heard that from the officer again yesterday. So the officer yesterday told me that they could make a decision on, the I-130, which I haven't checked. I haven't checked this for my clients just to see, if that was approved. Okay, let's see. I filed for VAWA, but my question is, I got a receipt for C31. How long after will I hear back from USCIS? What do you mean you got a receipt for the C31? Do you have a VAWA approval? Because the C31 usually means you have a VAWA approval. If you're getting a receipt that says C31 and you don't have a VAWA approval, that's usually an error, which USCIS has been known to make sometimes, where if you request like a work permit based on C9, they send you a receipt notice for C31. So without knowing your particular case history, it's hard for me to answer the question correctly. I submitted VAWA RFE And 6 months has passed and no answer yet. Should I be worried? No, I wouldn't be worried. Actually, one thing I have observed with USCIS is that the cases that they're going to deny, they usually deny them right away. They don't wait. They don't wait 6 months. The other cases, they might just be doing some background clearance, research or whatever the case may be. But we're definitely seeing more of that, especially if you're from one of the countries with the adjudicative hold, where they had to hold those cases from decision making, where they're taking a much longer time, approving those cases, or they were on the adjudicative hold list and they couldn't. But I mean, I don't know what country you're from, so I can't say. But 6 months is not a long time in this current administration, to be honest. I'm trying to multitask and trying to see if I can check my client's case to see if there has been a status update yet, so I can give you guys live updates while I'm on live. Let's see. Just give me a second, peeps. I have so many things opened. So your interview was done and you got a white paper saying the case is under review. Then later they updated online to say it's actively being reviewed. Is it saying something is coming soon? So that's normal. Most field offices will give you that paper and it would change the status to actively being reviewed, because otherwise the status before that is usually saying that the interview was scheduled. So that's normal. It doesn't necessarily mean anything is coming soon. But, if you remember, I just said that there is a hold for everyone right now, meaning whatever country you're from, even if they want to approve your case right now, because they're rerunning this fingerprints, they can't approve your case until they finish rerunning the new fingerprints. So, yeah. Does the new rule with the biometrics make the process longer? Absolutely. If you were meant to approve somebody on the day of the interview or the day after the interview, but now you want to rerun fingerprints and all of that stuff, it of course makes it take a longer time. Yeah. Can you sing the Flintstones theme song? I'm not sure if that's meant to be funny, but it's not. Do you handle federal immigration cases? All immigration cases are federal. So the question I think you're trying to ask is, do we handle detention cases? Your cousin is in ICE custody. He was granted release twice, but they appealed. Are you talking about you want to do a habeas? Yes, Stacy handles it at our firm, so you can schedule a consultation. My case is a marriage-based case. And I did my interview in July of 2025, but they still didn't give any decision. Should I wait or do something? Well, I don't know what country you're from. So, I think when you guys are asking questions now, because so many questions have different types of limitations or requirements, it might be better for you to type in your country, because that will help me to be able to give you a better analysis. Do you handle EB1s and EB2s? No, we do not. If you did biometrics in March of this year for a valid work permit and 485, are you going to do over the biometrics? Not physically go there to do it for the case, but like the new fingerprints and biometrics, they're being done, rerun automatically. Like you don't have to go there. Like if you already went to the biometrics for the case that you have pending. I got married to a US citizen. I got my social security, my work permit, and interview, but got a letter for an RFE, which states that my husband was convicted for gross sexual imposition. My case is now at the intent to deny phase. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what that means that your spouse is subject to Adam Walsh, which means that there is some sort of sexual child related issue there. And usually USCIS cannot approve, those petitioners cannot petition for someone. So without knowing more, I can't really give you any legal counsel. You can certainly schedule a consultation, depending on when you received your notice of intent to deny and when the deadline is this something defensible? What are the options do you have? And we can go over that with you. Do you know anything about the 79 countries that are on pause? I filed an I-130 for my son, and I want to know if you know how long the pause will continue. I don't know how long the pause will continue, but if you tuned in earlier, I said that we're starting to see some sort of changes, with the first one being that medical doctors are now allowed to get a visa from those countries, so that's all I got for you right now. What happens if you're doing biometrics now? I'm not sure I understand the question. Biometrics still works the same way. Are you saying that if you're doing biometrics now, do you need to redo? Do they need to re-fingerprint? Or do they need to rerun your fingerprint? No. So remember, this new re-fingerprinting that holds all green card approvals are for any cases that were filed before April 27th. So if your biometrics is after April 27th, I want to believe that those systems are already updated, but I don't know. If I did biometrics last month, do I need to do it again? Again, they're going to rerun it automatically. It's been almost 3 years since I applied for removal of conditions, and I'm still waiting. My green card extension will soon expire. If your green card extension is about to expire, you want to file for an added stamp on your passport. An added stamp is essentially like a green card that they give you, like a temporary green card for 1 year while your case is still pending. Another thing that you want to do is you want to get a screening with an attorney to determine if you're eligible for naturalization. Naturalization is your N-400 application, which determines citizenship. Because if you're eligible for naturalization, then you can file for naturalization. And what will happen is naturalization right now, a lot of the interviews for those are taken anywhere. Again, I'm saying this without knowing your country. But if, let's say, you're not one of the countries that are being slower, most cases you get an interview between 4 to 8 months. That's what we're kind of seeing on average. So during that interview, they will interview you for both your removal of condition and your naturalization. And speaking of which, we're seeing a really, really, really fast turnaround for marriage-based case interviews. I prepped a couple yesterday whose interview is coming up next week, and we submitted their file at the end of February, right? And we got the interview notice in April, so 2 months later. So a lot of people are even getting interviews before they even have the opportunity to get a work permit or a travel permit. Take with that what you will. After all denials, what is the best option if in the US and married to a veteran citizen? I would need to know what your case history is. We got to know what did you file for? Why were you denied? Are you facing a permanent bar? Is there misrepresentation and fraud? Are you looking at a 204C? So there's so many things we would want to know as to why your cases were denied, because marrying someone doesn't cure certain denials, because those things come back up the surface. So I would need to know your immigration history. We would need to request a FOIA, since it seems that you've said denials in plural. just to see what is your history before, we can make a determination. Hello, attorney. Is USCIS planning to give updates on the way forward this week in regards to the 39 countries? You probably just tune in. When I get off this live, you should log back in to listen to the first part of the live. We are pending an adjustment of status for Nicaragua. We're currently living in the United States with a 48-month extension letter. Is there anything we should do? I don't understand your question, because if you're pending adjustment of status and you have a 48-month extension letter, those two things contradict each other. 48-month extension letter is usually given to people who have temporary green cards. An adjustment of status is for people who don't have a green card. So I would need to know which one you are to be able to advise you adequately. With the exemption of doctors from the 39 countries, is USCI still considering some cases from the 39 countries to adjust status in the US? Again, if you listen to my beginning live, I talked about my interview yesterday, where the officer told us that they would like to approve the client, that they can only approve the client, and this was a client from Nigeria, that they can approve them for the I-130, and but they can't approve them for the 485 yet until this new fingerprinting thing is removed or is done. So hope that answers your question. I also talked about an I-130 approval we received yesterday for a child filing for her father who is living in Nigeria. So, it seems that they are beginning to move the ones with adjudicative hold, like the initial application, because you have to have two things approved. You need to have your I-130 approved and your 485 approved. So it seems that they're moving with the approval of the I-130s. What they're moving still slowly with is a 485. And as soon as I get a new one, I will tell you. Are people from the 79 countries who are in the US getting the I-751s approved? So I think that you guys are confusing two things. If you're from the 79 countries that have a public charge and they're not allowing immigrant visas, that is not for people here in the United States. So please do not confuse the two. That is for people outside of the United States that are trying to consular process in an American embassy in their home country. That is not the same thing. And it's not 79 countries, it's 75 countries. And of those 75 countries, there are people every single day that are getting approved for adjustment of status here. When I get off the live, you can go through my profile because I try to post them with the hopes that when I post some of those results and the dates of those results, you can see that the people are still getting approved. Now, are there countries that overlap? Yes, the countries that have the 39 ban, that's a ban. That one is not a pause. That one is a ban. Of those 39 countries outside are banned outside. They're not banned inside the United States. Please understand that these are two different things. They're not banned inside the United States. The process is just slower inside the United States because they're doing a higher level of review. Like I just mentioned, we got one approved for the I-130 yesterday. I'm waiting. I just can't find the person's receipt number right now without me having to stop live and go to my folder. That's why I haven't checked it. But once I have it, trust and believe, I will post it on my timeline. So maybe it'll help some people get their questions answered about which part. But the 485, they have specifically said until this fingerprinting, this new system, anything, this new fingerprint, anything before April 27th, everybody, it doesn't matter what country you're from. It doesn't matter whether you're not from the 39 country. It doesn't matter whether you're not from the 75 country. Everybody is not getting their green card approved until they finish rerunning the fingerprints. That's everybody. So hope that offers clarification. I might need a personal consultation with you. Yes, you should schedule a personal consultation. A lot of you have real questions and real immigration issues, but you're just getting piecemeals, little nuggets here and trying to put together jigsaw puzzles, don't do it to yourself. Schedule a consultation and get specific answers about your own specific cases instead of publicly posting a friend told me this and a friend told me that, or can I add this, or I'm asking a question from a friend. Schedule a consultation. You don't have to hire a lawyer. You don't even have to schedule a consultation with me. Schedule a consultation with an attorney. And talk about your own particular case, because there are only so many answers we can answer on a live without truly knowing your immigration history. I cannot tell you how many people think they're eligible for something and they come into a consult and we start going through the history and they're not eligible. And then I can't tell you how many people who don't think they're eligible for something but are like, you know what, let me just call. And I'm like, wait, you're eligible for this and you're also eligible for that. So, you never really know until you run through the different things that you could potentially be eligible for or something that you might be disqualified for. Yes, if I didn't get to your question and you'd like to schedule a consultation on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, and someone will reach out to you later. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.